Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to my cultural speech presentation, exploring Scandinavia, my journey through Copenhagen and Stockholm. Imagine stepping into a world where history and modern innovation blend seamlessly, where the sunset happens well past bedtime and where each meal and monument tells a story. That was my experience visiting the Nordic cities of Copenhagen and Stockholm. A journey that not only broadened my perspective, but also deepened my appreciation for culture, history, and even the simple joy of a well-cooked meal. Today, I'd like to take you through the highlights of my trip, from royal castles and legendary museums to reindeer encounters and late-night dinners, while sharing some of what I discovered along the way. One of the most powerful stops on my trip was the Vasa Museum in Stockholm, home to an almost fully intact 17th century warship that sank on its maiden voyage. Walking around this massive ship, still remarkably preserved, I was in awe of the engineering that was so brilliant and modern for its time, but so flawed that it never even lost its view from the shore before a strong wind caused it to sink, not to be discovered for another 300 years. The ship itself is a reminder that history is often a mix of triumph and miscalculation, and seeing it up close made it feel alive. Another favorite site I visited was the Shore on the Wave statue in Stockholm's Royal Castle, an intricate and moving piece of art that seemed to capture both the power and tranquility of the sea. This statue spoke to me immediately, and I was able to take a photo of it and even got one sitting in front of it, only to be reminded minutes later that no photos were allowed in the palace. That was close. In Denmark, I was able to visit the Little Mermaid statue, a tribute to Hans Christian Andersen's famous tale. It was much smaller than I expected, yet it carried an undeniable charm, a symbol of the storytelling tradition that continues to be an important aspect of Danish culture. One of the most American aspects of this trip was visiting the Stockholm Zoo, until I found myself standing in front of a real-life reindeer, an animal I had only associated with Christmas stories. Seeing them up close and in their natural environment reminded me how different climates and cultures shape our traditions and perceptions of the world. An attraction I could not miss was the ABBA Museum. Their music was part of the soundtrack of my younger years, and my mom played their albums all the time when I was little, and I still love them now, so that was something I could not pass up. Even if you're not the biggest ABBA fan, you can't help but be drawn into the immersive experience that lets you be a dancing queen for just a few minutes. From interactive exhibits to the sheer joy of their music, it was a reminder of how certain cultural influences transcend borders and generations. One of the best ways to experience the culture is through its food, and Scandinavia did not disappoint. I tried Swedish meatballs with lingonberry jelly, which were richer and more flavorful than I ever imagined. And if you ever want to try the combination, you can get both at IKEA. Believe me, you'll thank me. Then there was a hot dog with shrimp salad, a combination that sounded unusual at first, but I had to try it. I love seafood, and there must be something to it, I thought. Boy, was I wrong. One bite, and that was enough, unfortunately. But the sea bass, absolutely delicious, perfectly cooked, and a testament to the region's love of fresh seafood. It was definitely redemption from that hot dog. But what made the dining experience even more unique was the timing. Dinners often started as late as 10:30 p.m., and thanks to the time of year, daylight lingered until then. It was a surreal experience, eating under a bright sky, complete with an outdoor heater and a warm blanket. My body was convinced it should be nighttime. It gave me a new appreciation for how environments shape daily routines. In Copenhagen, I had the chance to visit Frederiksborg Castle in the Danish countryside, stepping into a world of elegance and history. My boss hired a private tour guide, which made the experience even richer, offering stories and insights that deepened my understanding of Denmark's past. Sitting down for a traditional Danish lunch of roast pork and parsley after exploring the castle felt like stepping back in time. Tasting recipes that have been passed down for generations was a perfect end to the experience. Another highlight was a boat trip through the Slussen Lock and Dam system, a fascinating glimpse into the engineering that allows boats to navigate water at different levels and different types altogether. It was a connection between the Baltic Sea, which is a saltwater body of water, and Lake Mälaren, which is freshwater. It was a quiet yet powerful experience, making me think about the seamless way Scandinavians integrate with nature and their modern infrastructure. It was also a grounding experience to see just one of the many ways of living that started back in the 1600s that was still in use. I absolutely loved it. Looking back, the experience was so much more than just a business trip with a series of sights and meals thrown into our free time. It was a lesson in history, a celebration of culture, and an opportunity to see the world from a different perspective. I was reminded how much there is to discover, and it started me on a journey of seeking out history whenever I travel now. Scandinavia taught me that history is not just something you read about, it's something you can stand in, walk through, and even taste. It reaffirmed my belief that travel is one of the best ways to broaden our horizons and challenge our perspectives. So whether it's through food, art, or unexpected encounters with reindeer, I encourage you to seek out experiences that take you beyond your comfort zone. You'll never know what you'll discover about the world or about yourself. Thank you for taking a little walk down memory lane with me from a very memorable experience in my life.